Welcome back to the Strata Automation technical channel. In this video, I'm going to be going over the systems and settings tabs of Ocean version 2. So first things first, I'm going to log in here under the admin level. Password is admin. So here, when I first log in, it's going to default me to the systems tab here. I'll have site view and dashboard. I'll have no controllers in my tree. So we're going to have to go ahead and get some controllers added. So to do that, I'm going to first go to the settings. So here you'll see I have all these different user levels. I can create new users by clicking the create user button. I can give it a name. I give it a password and select a role. We have a full spreadsheet covering what all these roles do. So rather than sit here and describe what they all do, I'll just pick one, select technician. So you can add as many users as you'd like. I can also edit existing users so that I can change passwords to make things more secure. I can also delete existing users. Now to begin adding devices, first I'm going to set up my connection. So here I'm going to enter my local IP address. So I've matched that up with the IP address of my Ocean server, and the subnet mask matches up as well. And then I've selected port 47808 to match up with my network that my BACnet routers are on. So my BACnet IP to MSTP routers connecting to my Strato devices. I'll hit connect. It'll give me this information here, as well as a connection ID. And then over here, you'll see time sync. I can force a time sync with all the devices that I've pulled in. Finally, in the settings tab here, I have some information about my Ocean server. So I have like my version that I'm currently running, as well as some other information about my license. So back to the systems. Now that I've set up my connection, I can go ahead and bring in some devices. So if I hit this plus here, it's going to go out and discover devices on my network. You'll see I have a whole list of devices here. But for these purposes, I'm only going to bring in my OCR, so my BACnet router. I'm going to bring in a BP848 and then two Backwall 437s. We recommend bringing devices in smaller chunks like this. They will load faster rather than if you're bringing them all in once. So if I bring in just a couple here, you'll see some of these are coming in pretty quick, and then I can start working. And then when these are done, I can bring in more rather than dumping them all in here by selecting all, dozens of devices at once. It will take some time to get these green check marks. But once these have all been brought in, I can go ahead and start looking through here. So other buttons up here, update devices. This goes out and pulls my devices to update information that might be stale, whether I've changed a name or some of the information about the device has changed. And then if, let's say I have all these devices nested. So let's say I have, a handful of BACnet routers out there, and I want to nest my devices for each router that they're associated with. I could go and drag these devices on here, and then they would be nested. And let's say I have a bunch sitting here. I can hit this to expand and collapse all those to keep things organized. But I'll go ahead and remove those from the nest. Now I'm going to click on my BP848 here. The default view when I click on one of my devices in the tree is the live view over here. So you'll see that it is automatically selected the Strato B848 or BP848 graphic to populate with the information from my objects list. But I'm going to go over to device config and go through all of these here. So device config shows general information about my device, like the name, address, and instance, as well as the firmware version, which is down here. When I want to update my device or refresh it, I'll click this button here. You'll see the little tooltip, force device and info, or info and objects to refresh. So if I click this, it's going to go and do a fresh pull of all the BACnet objects like it did when I first brought it in. So if something doesn't look right or it's not refreshing automatically like you'd like, if I click that button, it'll go and pull all the fresh information from the device, and you'll see the status up here on the left. And then when it's finished, I'll get my green check mark once again. Additionally, let's say I have a bunch of overrides, manual overrides for commissioning purposes, or I just have a bunch of conflicting priorities and rights going on in the background. I just want to set everything straight and work sort of from scratch. If I click this clear priorities button, I can go ahead and write null to any priority for every object on my device. So if I hit select all, it's going to highlight all of them. So if I hit select all, it's going to uncheck them, or I can select all, and it's going to select all of the ones outside of the default program 10 and the minimum on-off time that we are using here to protect the devices, as well as the program level, which is what we normally write at. If I click this, I'm not going to because it's going to take a while, but if I did, it would go and write null to every BACnet object at this priority. So keep in mind it will take a little bit of time to do that. It's a lot of traffic, but if you have a lot of overrides from commissioning, or if you look at a lot of your BACnet objects and you have several different values being written to different priorities, you can go in and null all those out. Moving on to the app config, this is where I'll do my configuration. So I can go through all these different tabs here using the drop downs and the text boxes to enter the information to set up my device with all the equipment that I have that the controller is going to be operating. That information also all lives in the objects list here. So I have a bunch of different options to filter. So I can filter, all the MSVs if I want to by using the object ID, and sort high to low, low to high. You do the same thing for values here. If I want to get rid of that filter, I can hit that little button there. It'll clear out those filters. So every object for my BACnet device lives in this this table here. Additionally, I can sort through all the different pages. So rather than just have one long list, I have pages here. That'll change as I filter as well. If I right click on one of my objects, so let's say I want to look at AVs and I want to see AV H2 here, AV29, which is my outside air. Now I don't have a temperature probe hooked up here, but if I right click on this, I can edit the present value. So let's say I don't have a temperature probe hooked up, but I want to simulate what it's going to be like to get my economizer to start working or to lock up my compressors or one of those scenarios. We can override this by setting the priority here to whatever value or a priority I'd like, enter the value and hit apply, and you'll see it show up in the tree. So let's say I want this to be at priority 9 and I want it to be 40 degrees. Hit apply. You'll see now it's living in my priority array here. If I click on it, I can null it out as well. Additionally, you might have seen if I right click, I can go show trend log. If I click this, it's going to take me directly to my trend for that point in a different tab, so I won't lose my place over here, and it'll show the tab. Now, I just brought this device in, so there's not a whole lot of trend information here. So I'll cover trends in a different video, but that is how you get to the trends quickly if you are in the objects tab. Now for the spreadsheet tab here, I'm going to go over to my OCR, so my BACnet router. That's currently the only device that this feature has any use case for, but what it allows me to do is I can edit the object name and description for these values here, and then I can hit update object names, and it's going to save that to the device. So if I want to create custom programming, this would be useful rather than just have AV1, AV2, etc. I can actually name these points for what they are associated with. So like base temp, cooling demand, you name it, whether it's based on points from a different device or just your standard points that you want to name things. And then all these other features here, I can like import. If I click open here, I can go and open a spreadsheet that would match up. I can also save this one and edit it in a different program if I don't want to do it in the browser here. And then refresh is going to go and pull that device again to match the information here with the information on the device. Live view, I'll go back to a BP848 here. So from my drop down here, I can select any graphic, whether it's a custom one that I built here or the ones with the underscore. So Strato underscore and then device model number will be the default ones, or I can select one of my custom ones. That'll just populate with information from my objects tab over here. And finally, the dashboard here. This one's currently blank, but if I select one of the ones I've created from my drop down here, I'll cover the full dashboarding tool in a different video, but that would live here. So I could populate it with basic information like set points, current heating or cooling demand. I could do a trend for the previous space temp. There's all kinds of things I could put in this dashboard, whether it's just the dashboard for a single device or for my whole Ocean as a sort of a splash page. But that is going to be all for this video. So if you'd like to see some of the other features, go ahead and check out our other videos. But thank you for watching and have a great day.